Hello everyone, my name is Chaninart Thiangnuam and today our group would like to talk about the forest and wildlife conservation. The reason why we choose this topic is because we want people to realize the value and importance of green areas and wild animals, and also to raise the awareness of the current situation of forest and wildlife, which is quite critical these days. Now, what is it? Forest and wildlife are interdependent in the environment. A forest is a large land area dominated by trees, aquatic biomes, animals belonging in several species, and a million varieties of microorganisms. We can also find many wild animals present in the forest. Next, factors that have an effect on forest and wildlife. For external factor, the first one is climate change. These will have influences on wildlife behaviors and the cycle of life of the trees. Second is wildlife damage. These also will cause the extinction of animals and endangered species. The last one is long-distance drift of pesticide from agriculture, because chemical can contaminate in the air, which can become the rain that pouring in the forest later. For internal factor, the first one is the loss of old growth forests. This can be caused by many reasons, such as the humidity or temperature in the air or the weed that interrupt the growing process. The second one is loss of historical forest management system. And the last one is the increase of wood removal.
I'm going to talk about more specific information about Thailand. First of all, the National Forest Policy was established in 1985 by Forest Policies and Legal Framework Thailand in order to manage and develop the forest resources for sustainability and in conformity with the development of other natural resources so that the country will reap social, economic, stability, and environmental benefits. The important policy is to maintain the total forest area for about 40% of the country area. These forests were divided into two groups, which were conservative forests and economic forests. Conservative forest was 25% and economic forest was 15%. These forest areas are managed and developed by the state agencies and private sectors toward the specified goals. The missions were to conserve, rehabilitate, and develop the natural resources and environment with the participation and active integration of all sectors. These are the strategies regarding forest resources by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment. 1. To balance between the conservation and the utilization of the natural resources in conformity with the sustainable development approach. 2. To manage the sustainable and fair utilization of biodiversity. 3. To manage the water resources by integrating into watershed systems. 4. To manage and develop the natural resources and environmental quality by participation and integration at all levels. Thailand has published many forest laws which have been effective to control and define the processes for forest protection and forest resource management toward the stability and sustainable utilization of forest resources. At present, there are 6 forest laws being employed to regulate the forestry activities as follows. 1. Forest Act BE 2484, 1941 and subsequent amendment BE 2532, 1989. 2. National Park Act BE 2504, 1961. 3. National Reserve Forest Act BE 2507, 1964 and subsequent amendment BE 2522, 1979 and BE 2528, 1985. 4. Wildlife Preservation and Protection Act BE 2535, 1992. 5. Forest Plantation Act BE 2535 1992, and lastly, Chainsaw Act BE 2545 2002. What happened to Tycoon Premchai? So, Thailand's construction tycoon Premchai Karmasuter was sentenced to 3 years, 2 months in jail without parole by the Supreme Court today for poaching and hunting a black panther in Thung Yai near Suwon Wildlife Sanctuary in Kanchanaburi in February 2018. Premchai was in possession of 2 hunting rifles and another handmade one when he was apprehended. In 2019, the Italian Thai Development CEO acknowledged the charge and had received a lower sentence from the earlier conviction as a result of the construction tycoon acknowledging the charge. The original charges were said to have later been halved owing to his confession. Now, Premchai was also sentenced by the court to pay a sum of 2 million baht in compensation. He was also charged with corruption for trying to bribe a forest ranger who caught him with a group of hunters.
Information about Myanmar. According to the UN, FAO, 48.3% or about 31,773,000 hectares of Myanmar is forested. According to FAO, of its 10% is classified as primary forest, the most biodiverse and abundant form of forest. Myanmar had 988,000 hectares of planted forest. Change in forest cover between 1990 and 2010, Myanmar lost an average of 372,250 hectares or 0.95% per year. In total, between 1990 and 2010, Myanmar lost 19% of its forest cover or around 7,445,000 hectares. Myanmar's forest contain 1,654 million metric tons of carbon in living forest biomass. Biodiversity and protected areas. Myanmar has some 1,709 species of amphibians, birds, mammals, and reptiles, according to figures for the World Conservation Monitoring Center. Of these, 4.7% are endemic, meaning they exist in no other country, and 5.9% are threatened. Myanmar is home to at least 7,000 species of vascular plants, of which 15.3% are endemic. 0.3% of Myanmar is protected under IUCN categories 1 to 5. Myanmar Forest Policy and Legal Framework 2008, National Forest Policy, Subnational Forest Policy, National Forest Program in Implementation, National Forest Law, Specific Forest Law, Subnational Forest Law. Resources Overview and estimated 44% of Myanmar's land area is covered with forest. Most of the forests are naturally regenerated, but Myanmar still maintains 11% of its primary forest area. Much of its biodiverse forest ecosystem play an important role in the Greater Mekong area and are of great global significance. Despite a relatively half proportion of remaining forest cover, and the country has seen substantial deforestation and forest degradation over recent decades. Resources Overview Part 2. Between 1990 and 2050, an estimated 10.2 million hectares of forest was lost, while many remaining forest stocks have become severely degraded. There are a variety of different forest types across the country, divided by local and regional conditions. These range from evergreen, mixed deciduous forest, dry forest, deciduous, dithyrocop forest, hill and temperate evergreen forest, and tidal swamp forest, and remainder non-tropical forest. About 20.5 million hectares of forest are designated for production, of which plantation forest form a total of 944,000 hectares.
Now we have a comparison information about forests between Thailand and Myanmar. In 1995, Myanmar got forests and lands at 47,124 hectares, exploited forests at 20,442, and plantation forests at 519 hectares, while Thailand got forests and land at 13,630 hectares, exploited forests at 7,957, and plantation forests at 779 hectares. 15 years have passed and both countries got lesser area except for plantation forests. For Myanmar, forests and lands were dropped to 42,062, and Thailand at 10,588. For exploited forests, Myanmar was at 18,058 and Thailand at 5,609. But both of them has increased the plantation forest area. Myanmar's has risen to 894 hectares, and Thailand has also risen to 1,529. In 2010, Myanmar got conservation areas at 8%, and the rest is an open forest, while Thailand got conservation areas at 65.2% and open forest at 34.8% out of all forest area.
Conclusion. Conservation of forests is the practice of planting more trees and maintaining the forest area for the sustainability for the future generation. Forests are an important natural resource and are beneficial to humans in several ways. Wildlife conservation. Wildlife is a very important and vital aspect of our ecosystem. Listed below are a few of the reasons stating the importance of building conservation. Important for their medicinal value. Health keeps our environment healthy. Important to maintain ecological balance. Economical importance. Help preserve biodiversity. Recommendation. The forest can be conserved in the following manner. Introducing afforestation program. Controlling forest fire. Proper utilization of forest resources. Proper care should be taken to protect the forest from pests and diseases. Wildlife can be conserved by developing protected areas such as national park wildlife sanctuary to protect the animal in their natural habitats. The endangered and vulnerable species can be kept in captivity in places such as zoo and bred to increase their population.